Hey there, Al Perhax. Welcome back to the 7-Day Inception. Here we are, day number 6. And today we're going to talk about healing and vitality. So as we go into this, I want you to really reflect on the fact that we've built up to this point, healing, vitality, and every piece that we've discussed is going to fully integrate to what we're going to talk about today, which might be the most important aspect of this entire process. But without knowing some of the elements before, I couldn't truly teach you what I'm going to teach you today. And that this is the buildup to exactly what you want to know about vitality and healing. So let's just jump right into it and make sure that you have an understanding of how this is going to work magnificently for you. So healing and vitality. First off, very simply, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to have answers for all the horrible health issues that plague our world today. However, I do believe that our mind and energy has a very large impact on how our bodies and mind react to sickness and disease. It's proven that those with the best mental abilities and overall energy have the best chance of recovery from any health situation. And I believe that. And again, there's the 9-step process. I'm not going to go into that again, but you can take a look at it. And again, the same thing is true for this as it was for the other pillars. There's the 6 mind force pillars again. And each one builds upon the other. They all integrate perfectly. And here we are at the healing process. And the healing process wouldn't be something to talk about if we didn't talk about the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind, because these are all elements that are going to allow you to heal at a much greater rate, right? And this, you'll notice I've had this slide for every presentation because these all work together. And when it comes to healing, even more so for that matter, because it's serious business, healing. We're going to talk about the triad again, the chi triad, spiritual chi, mental chi, and physical chi. Energy, physical energy that you can feel, mental energy that's going to be designed to heal and to use in the healing and vitality process. And then the spiritual side. We're going to get into pretty good detail about the soul and how and why that's important in the healing process. But vitality and healing, if you look at this picture, you can see it's resonating, right? It's vibrations. It's the energy is vibrating. And the more you vibrate, the more clean your energy is, the better and more healthy and more vital you're going to be. That's really what it comes down to. What separates the person that's sickly versus the person that's healthy? It comes down to that energy level. Now, there's going to be a lot of things we talk about in this section that you might not agree with. You might say, well, that doesn't make sense. Where's the scientific proof? Well, there's a lot of scientific proof, but there's also a lot of things that happen in this world that can't be proven directly by science. Very similar to what I've said in some of the other areas. And so there are different types of healing. There's emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, physical, and other. So let's talk a little bit about these different types of healing. Number 1, emotional. That's a big one. We're going to talk about letting go and removing the traumas that have been holding us back. When I say us, everyone has trauma in their life. And everyone's level of trauma is going to be different than someone else's. For example, somebody could be physically abused, and because of their makeup, they don't see that as much of a trauma as when they were yelled at, when they were berated. But the physical, even though it might have been worse, wasn't that much of a reflection. Vice versa, there's somebody that could have been berated, didn't bother them at all, but the physical, pain was not good. Then there's the mental, right? Mental. you could be mentally unhealthy. And if you look and see what is being done in and around the world, even to this day, there's a lot of it's actually mental and emotional trauma that's being placed on many of us. But when I say many of us, it really comes down to, do you accept it or not? I don't accept a lot of what I hear because I want to accept what I want to accept for my own health and vitality. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at least I made the decision on that health level. It's just the way it is. And hopefully you have that same type of attitude, because that's what's going to allow you to get and be and stay as healthy as you can. The next is spiritual, which we're going to go into detail on the spiritual, because I do believe that the soul, the spirit, is really one of the most important things when it comes to your health. Financial health. Where are you at financially? Now, financial health can have a cumulative effect on emotional, mental, spiritual, even physical, because of the financial health that you're in right now. And then physical health, obviously. That's probably the one that most people think about. I got a hurt back, my knee hurts, headache, disease, whatever. And I probably should have put on here relationships, but I guess relationships probably ties into the emotional, but relationships are really important as well. And if you look at each one of these pieces, again, they integrate together. And so we want to talk about, how do we get to a place where we're healthy from all these aspects? Now, we've been going through a process over the last several days to develop a mindset, to develop an energy, to develop a focus and relaxation through meditation. We've talked about being perceptive and aware. We've talked about the manifestation and abundance creation. Again, manifestation and abundance, let's not forget that we're not just talking about getting things in that manifestation and abundance factor. A prosperity consciousness is not just about money, it's about your entire life. Because I'll take emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, physical health more so than just financial. I want it all, and you can have it all as well. We want to be able to separate and understand how each of them play into it, but it's so important that you take all the elements we've talked about, the pillars, the cylinders, the concepts, the methods, the tactics, and utilize them to become the better you. Faith and belief. Faith is assurance of things hoped for, but not yet seen. We talked a little bit about that. Belief is trust and faith in someone or something. In order for healing to take place, you have to have a tremendous amount of faith and belief in your ability to heal yourself, and if you're working with somebody else to heal you. Because if you don't believe that that person can heal you, then you're almost running up into a no-win situation. And you build your faith and belief with all of the techniques that we've been talking about. We talked a lot about the subconscious, talked about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, the superconscious mind, using affirmations. Have you set up your subliminal studio, and have you started experimenting? Because one of the things, and it's interesting, I was just sent a link to a website that has all these subliminal files, and I have the same types of things. But my thing is this: why not teach yourself how to fish? And I taught you how to fish, what was it, a couple days ago, when I showed you the subliminal studio. Have you actually looked into it? Did you get yourself a headset or a nice microphone that you can use? Have you started playing around with that, putting some affirmations in, self-talk? Because that's going to be a deciding factor. That's going to build your faith and belief in your ability to heal yourself and others. There's always a takeaway in everything that we do. Always, okay? Healing protocol. Belief factor is 90% of healing. I absolutely believe that. And that's true for physical healing. For instance, if you go in for a surgery and you have such a negative attitude, it could detrimentally affect how that surgery goes. If you go in with a great positive attitude, it's going to go fine. But all things have the possibility of one way or the other. That's just the way life is. All healing is self-healing, at least the way we're going to talk about it. So you need to take responsibility for your healing. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. It's the same thing with people that don't want to take a responsibility for their weight, for their health. They want to smoke cigarettes. They want to drink excessively. They want to use drugs. They want to have unhealthy habits and then expect to be healthy. You can't have one without the other. Now, of course, there's the person that lives till they're 100 and they smoke and drink all day long. There's going to be anomalies. But you have to take responsibility. And I may mention that several times today. You need to forgive yourself and others. It's a big factor in healing. It's forgiving yourself for anything that you judge yourself on. Now, here's one thing, is that as you're building up this energy and this mind force, and you're getting the awareness and all these things, is that it comes down to your judgmental state. Oftentimes, we judge ourselves much, much more harsher than anyone judges us. And what happens as a result of that is that we prevent ourselves from healing. We prevent ourselves from getting the manifestation in abundance we want because we can't forgive ourselves because of maybe something we did or something we interpreted that we did that was worse than it was. Now, in some cases, some of us have done some horrendous things. If you've done a horrendous thing, you should forgive yourself for it. And if somebody else has done something against you, forgive them as well. That's a hard thing to do. But again, we're going to talk about stagnant energy. And by not forgiving yourself and others, you've got stagnant energy inside your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul. You've got to remove it. You've got to let go. You'll hear me say letting go. You must let go. You have to raise your vibrational energy. We talked about that in the energy section. That's a physical type of situation and a mental situation of raising that vibrational energy. And again, you want to unblock stagnant energy. We want to remove it through the system, either just like this or even lying down and just moving it. You want to thank the universe. You want to thank God. You want to thank someone else. That's fine. It's a spiritual essence that you have to understand that you are a spirit, right? You're going to heal the soul, then the mind, then the body, and then repeat as needed. So again, now this healing protocol may not contain all of the elements, but what I want to do in this course, because obviously we're limited in terms of what I can teach in a very short period of time, but this should give you the tip of the iceberg of what it's going to take. And then if you want to take it to the next level, contact me and we can certainly go through that. Energy and vitality is your choice. And like I said, you got to take responsibility for it. It is your choice. It was my choice as I was raising my 4 children to not go to doctors all the time. And we didn't. My youngest is 27. My oldest is 36, I believe. And I will bet you that they've been to the doctor less than 10 times each. Now, I can't say how much since they've moved out, but when they were growing up, we didn't go to the doctor. We just didn't, because I believe that the body and the mind and the spirit can heal. Now, that's not to say that when my son's toe was ingrown and he couldn't play soccer, that we weren't going to take him to the doctor and get him surgery on his toe. I had a hernia and I had to get that fixed. Right? So there are reasons, obviously, where you'll go into the doctor, and then there's reasons where you It doesn't make sense. But the energy and vitality is your choice. And I made the choice many, many years ago. Unfortunately, my wife was on the same page as me, or I was on the same page as her, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter, but we were on the same page. We didn't believe in going to the doctor, right? Now, when I say I don't believe in going to the doctor, don't think that I don't believe in doctors, because I do. But I also believe that you're a doctor for your own body. And what happens is, and this is the thing that I really want to impress upon you when it comes to your health and vitality, is you make that decision. You make that decision based on conscious effort for you to say, I'm healthy. My body's healthy. My soul's healthy. My physical being is healthy. That's not to say that things aren't going to prop up. That's not going to say that I don't hurt my shoulder when I'm lifting weights, or it doesn't mean that if I do something that causes a disruption in my energy, my chi, that I'm not going to be injured or hurt. And that doesn't mean that there's not going to be pain. There's going to be a healing process that's going to take place. But energy and vitality is your choice. Up until this time, however old you are, you've made that decision as I'm going to be healthy or I'm not. Unfortunately, and go back to the energy video that I shot on the whiteboard, where I talked about this concept of the energy is that your mindset directs and moves the energy, right? And in that video, I talked about these things, right? And we talked about in several of the different sections, because a lot of these things are the same. And you should be getting the point where you're saying, okay, this stuff all integrates. It's very simple once you figure it out. Fear, doubt, anger, anxiety, worry. These are all things that people think about that cause lack of health, lack of vitality, lack of energy. This is just a sampling, but these are the main ones. You're afraid, you're fearful that you're going to get this, that, or the other. You doubt that your body can heal. You're angry because you have this and somebody else doesn't. You have anxiety over, oh my, what's going to happen? And then worry about the same thing. Your mindset directs and moves the energy. Your body then sends the energy out. So whether you're doing a chi exercise program or not, your body's still sending out this energy. And if the energy is fear, doubt, anger, anxiety, and worry, what do you think you're getting? What kind of results do you think you're going to get? That's the results you're getting. And for many of you, that's your main problem, is that you've got this mental stagnation and you're sending out energy that's not clean. It's dirty. It's nasty. It needs to be cleaned. Stagnant energy manifests in the heart and soul. And then it can move throughout the body. And what I'm showing you here on this graphic here is the heart is cluttered with stagnant energy because you're not free with your love. You're not feeling euphoric and blissful. You're angry. You're shut down. You're worried. You're anxious. Your heart cannot be opened if you're in this state of panic and anxiety, anger, worry, doubt. Add them all on. That's what it looks like. And you've got this murky aura. People can feel it. I have relatives that are constantly sick, constantly hurting, constantly having some kind of issues because it's part of them. Their being sick is almost part of their personality, their character. Stupid, right? I think it's crazy, but stagnant energy is a result of mind, body, spirit misalignment. And as you get the alignment correct, you can start controlling. As you can see, that's starting to get larger. This is why people get sick, because they've got this stagnant energy. Now, for me to sit here and tell you, oh, I know where all of this, all of your ailments come from, or anyone's ailments come from, is crazy. There's environmental factors, there's genetic factors, there's, how you're living your life factors. There's and a lot of it's mental though. If you give ailments and disease a foothold, they'll expand. And then your mind runs off to the races with it. So the question is this, and this is a really good question for you, is what's the difference between someone who has a horrendous disease, horrendous health issue that gets healed either by Western medicine or other, and the difference between somebody else that doesn't? A lot of times it's the mindset that they go into the process with. And you've heard the stories. You can look it up online of people that have come back from catastrophic illnesses to be free and clear. And you've heard of other people that have gone down the rabbit hole of disease, despair, and unfortunately death. It happens. And it's the mindset. I'll just give you a quick story. Is that my mother was an alcoholic, chain smoker, schizophrenic. And just to show you how powerful the mind is that when she had cancer in her mouth, she smoked all the time. And they did the surgery on her mouth. And when I went to visit her in the hospital, she was so disfigured. She looked like a monster. Terrible. You know, the first thing she said to me was, Alvin, when can I smoke? The doctors won't let me smoke. Now, pretty good chance that she had that issue because of the cigarettes. And yet, her mindset was, I need to smoke. Right? But that's how people are. The exact opposite. And she passed, several weeks after that. I think she just gave up because she couldn't be in the same place that she was. It's sad, but it's reality. I want you to think on this. You brush your teeth daily, you eat daily, you sleep daily, you clean yourself daily, keep your office and your house clean, I'm assuming. You make your bed in the morning. And others, why not clean your energy daily? You ever even thought of that? And yet most people have never even thought about it. How about your mind? Do you keep your mind clean daily, or do you clean it? It's okay to, watch something on TV or engage in an activity that's maybe not the best for your mind, body, or spirit. However, what are you doing once you get done with that? You should clean it, right? And so I want you to really think about this, because I'm going to give you a prescription of cleansing your body, your mind, your spirit. Again, all three. Integral. And I want you to really think about this. As you're doing your exercises and different things like that, you're cleaning your energy. When you pull your energy down like this, it's cleaning the energy. You're clearing out the stagnation and putting in clean, clear energy. You're going to want to merge the yin, which is the earth, the yang with the heaven. So yin is a female energy. Yang is a male energy. You need to have a combination of both. And you'll notice that in this picture, it shows someone sitting in a posture that is taking and connecting through their body heaven and earth. And being able to center yourself, create the vibration from both of those powerful forces. As you sit there right now, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about connecting the powerful force from the earth. If you've been through my sequence masterclass, you understand about how we talk about centering, talking about dropping the chi and the energy into the ground, deep into the surface of the earth, and sending also the energy up into the heavens. If you can visualize yourself, do it for a moment. Visualize energy going through your body down into the center of Mother Earth, and then all the way from the top of your head into the heavens, into the universe. It should give you a calming feeling, but it should also create a vibratory essence. So anytime you want to get yourself into an alignment, you put yourself into that situation just like that. And again, you're going to get copies of these slides so you can refer back to them. So you need to clean the energy and restore the soul. You can't really tell from this picture, but the aura is cleaning up, and we've cleaned up the energy. Right? So the energy was black before. Now we're cleaning it. We're clearing it. We're making it so that it feels better. Don't you want to feel better? I get calls all the time from people that say, my energy is so erratic. I can't calm down. I can't relax. I'm always agitated. I have a lot of anxiety. And it's because the energy is like, buzzing. You need to calm it. You need to relax it down. You need to lie down and just relax the energy down. Think of what I'm showing you here in terms of what you're doing with the energy. You're cleaning it. You're clearing it. And as you clear it, you start sending it out in a pattern that's clean. Because if you send the energy out in a circular pattern that's not clean, you're going to get results that unclean energy gets, which is probably not the best results. But that's what a lot of you are probably doing right now. You need to consciously be aware. I have to be consciously aware. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and yet I have to constantly get into that frame of mind, that alignment of mind, where I understand where I'm cleaning my energy, where I'm keeping my mind clean, my soul clean, my body clean. And as you increase the vibrational energy, it sends out a wave of vibrations. And those waves of vibrations create a healing energy. It's as simple as that. But it comes down to your faith and belief, your understanding that what you're doing is going to work for you and for others. It's clear of how to do it. And then you transform the energy. All energy can be transformed. So then you transform that energy to a powerful color, like a golden color. Feel that golden color. You send it everywhere around your house, your relatives, yourself. You've got that golden child like energy that just is going off your body. That's healing. I know some of you are saying, well, what about my aches and pains? Well, you've got to get yourself in the frame of mind, and you've got to get yourself working on the elements that I already talked about. If you don't do that, how do you think you're going to be able to heal yourself? I think what happens a lot of times is we don't want to take responsibility for our own healing. We want somebody else to do it for us. And so we find a healer and say, I've got this ailment. Can you heal me? And whether they can or not, it really comes down to your belief in that person, your belief in the fact that they can do that. Coming from a Christian background, if you read the Bible, and again, this has nothing to do with religion per se, but it's a fact, as it's stated in the Bible, that Jesus could not perform miracles in his own town because of the lack of belief of the individuals that were in his town, because they just knew him as Jesus, the carpenter. And yet when he went into other towns, people could just touch his tunic and they would be healed because of their belief. They believed that they would be healed. So you really have to understand that concept and embrace that concept and realize that, and guess what? Don't believe me. Do the research yourself and understand the belief factor is of utmost importance, but the belief factor is going to be the most important in every aspect that we've touched on. The energy, the mindset, the relaxation, the awareness and perception, the manifestation, it all comes back to belief. What do you believe? How do you create a belief factor? You create it by changing the mind. If the mind is not ready, you have to convince the mind otherwise. That's why we use affirmations. That's why we do subliminal tracks. That's why I showed you the subliminal studio, so that you can control that. You want to breathe, release, let go. I want you to breathe. Just let it out, release. Breathe. Release. And let go. You got trauma. You got a trauma bond. It's stuck to you. Breathe. Release. And let go. That's why I always do this, because as I'm breathing and releasing, it's actually releasing the energy. As you breathe, release, and let go, I want you to picture health, prosperity, and love. Love is the container. It is the thing that's going to get you the best results the fastest. It's all about love. All about having that energy that's a love energy. If some of you don't understand that, then you have to find out what that means to you. From my perspective, I know the love I have for my children and my wife and my family. That's a love. Sometimes we don't like our family, right? Getting in minor, arguments, but we still love them. You want to learn to love your fellow man. I know that's tough sometimes when you hear of all the egregious things that go on in life. It happens. But by using a love element, you're going to turn your health around in such a faster fashion than if you don't. Now, some of you guys out there that are tough guys, you're like, hey, I don't want to learn all this love stuff. I just want to learn how to build up the energy so that I can, manipulate or whatever. But if you ever want to heal somebody or yourself, it comes down to that love of self. Talked about forgiving yourself, forgiving others. Well, that's a love element. And that you have to love yourself so that you can love others. Sometimes in order to love yourself, you need to love others first and really come to understand that you are a precious, precious soul. And then health and prosperity, those come hand in hand with the love. Now, of course, there's people that can gain prosperity by not having the love element. You see it happen all the time. If you really want to live a bountiful life, you want to have it with that love element. That's the key to prosperity and health. Breathe, release, and let go. And I know that seems overly simplistic to a lot of you. Some of you are like, I've got this. That sounds too simplistic. But see, you got to look at, where did that come from? You could have soul energy right now that is cloudy. You may have entities that are draining your energy and causing you to be less healthy. One of those things that you have to understand. You need to be able to transform any dark energy into love, health, and prosperity. Everything negative and dark that enters my energy field gets transformed instantly to love, health, and prosperity, in that order. Pyramid could either be looked at as the top of the pyramid or the bottom, but love is the base. It's hard to have darkness when you have love. When you have a love energy that's going out. That love energy creates a health, it creates prosperity. And so the affirmation that you use is that everything negative and dark that enters my energy field gets transformed instantly to love, health, and prosperity. That's an affirmation that you want to say daily. It's part of the cleansing process with how you get rid of that dark, negative energy. Everything negative and dark that enters my energy field gets transformed instantly to love, health, and prosperity. With belief and faith, you believe that it takes place. It's not to say that the first time that you do that it may or may not work as well, but you have to continually do it. Now, where do these dark, negative energies come from? They come from energy doors and windows, in your body. They come from poor mental focus, could be from alcohol and drugs, depression, anger, self-pity. But conceptualize this. And again, when I say these dark energies, this, gets into a facet that a lot of people aren't willing to acknowledge. The fact that the soul, we talked about it before, you're a soul. You're a spirit that's living inside of a body. And one of these days, your body is not going to be around anymore, but your soul still will. So your soul is your essence. The soul is you. Your mind is something that's put as a piece into your mind in your body so that you can maintain your soul. When your soul goes to its next destination, your mind is going to be changed to that next level. That's why you don't really understand, your past lives or anything like that. Of course, you can meditate on it and you can find out, but generally speaking, there's a cloud of vision that doesn't allow it. But you have these energy doors and windows in your body that's allowing this dark energy to come in. And sometimes it's lack of focus. Sometimes it is alcohol. You drink too much alcohol, you're opening yourself up for these types of entities and dark energy to come at you. Drugs the same way. Because these entities, these dark energies, they want to feed off of dark energy that they get a buzz off of. It's going to be energy that is raw energy. And the way I could best describe it is depression, anger, self-pity, sexual thoughts, sexually deviant thoughts, alcohol and drugs, where you're alcohol and drugs, you're more out of control. So that's easy to go in, right? And then how do you get rid of those dark energies? Well, you have to clean the energy. The energy's been darkened. You just went out and you played in the mud. You just went out and got dirty. You have to now clean the energy. Part of that process is what we've talked about today, but it's also the process that we've been talking about for the last several days. This is not a different type of training than anything else you've learned in the last couple of days. It's an add-on. It's a different perspective of the training that we've talked about so far. So you're doing blood washing, standing meditation, lying down meditation, seated meditation. You're cleaning the energy. You're cleaning the mind. And you're cleaning the soul by letting those dark energies know that you expect love and light. That you don't accept any energy unless it's of the highest love. That every dark energy that comes near you is automatically transformed to love, health, and prosperity, as we mentioned in the last slide. These are all important. And you're going to need to go over this training over and over again so that you don't miss anything. Let's talk a little bit about vitality and longevity. How young are you? A lot of times people say, how old are you? I always say, how young are you? Now, I'll be 60 years old. No, I'll be 60 years old in about a year. In January, I turn 59. So I'm getting up there, but I don't feel old. And people tell me I don't look old. So I believe them. And I don't feel old. I feel young because that's my mindset. So I'm not going to try to be something that I'm not. And that's an old man. Time is just a measurement that it was created. If there was no time, you wouldn't notice getting old. But see, what happens is by putting time and constructs around things, we become old based on the time element. When you're in your 20s, you dress a certain way, you think a certain way. By the time you get to your 30s, now you've transitioned into a different type of situation. You get in your 40s, it's a little different. In your 50s and 60s, and all of a sudden they expect a certain way for you to dress, to act, to feel. You get in your 50s, you're supposed to start taking drugs and pills and this, that, and the other. I'm not on any drugs, except for the occasional allergy pill every now and then. But that's it, right? So, but I have friends of mine, many of them, that have all kinds of pills that they're taking every day. And a lot of it is the mental conditioning that they've received as they were growing up. That's what's expected. That when you get to a certain age, I get to a certain age, like I hear a lot of times people say, it's hard for me to get out of bed anymore. And I got aches and pains. And see, when you're committing that to your thought process, and then you're repeating it, and you're actually bringing those words into existence, into the ether, into the world, you're creating that scenario. I wake up every day perfect, in perfect health. Your body was designed for perfect health. And so when you wake up in the morning, you should wake up perfect. I feel fantastic. And I'm only going to get better as the day goes on. And some of you listening to this will be like, there's no way this guy's really like that. But I am. My kids are like that too. Because they've been trained, just like you've been trained, to go to the doctor all the time for every little ailment. Yeah. Guess what? I got COVID just like many people did. Did I go to the doctor? No. There was no way I'm going to the doctor because I can heal myself. And I did. And guess what? You healed yourself as well. That's just the way it goes. So when you look at this, you've got to understand this mindset. And even that little thing that I just told you, that you wake up and, wake up aches and pains, and I can feel it so much more now that I'm getting old. I hear people say all the time, I feel it a lot more now that I'm getting older. And see, what they should be saying is, I feel great. And I feel like I'm getting younger and younger every day. What's funny is I was at a barbecue not long ago. It was a young guy in his early 30s. And he said something about, his back was hurting or something like that. And he goes, oh man, I got the body of a 80-year-old. And I said, no, you don't. And I said, don't say that. I said, you can't commit that type of heinous crime against your mind. And I'm sure he thought I was crazy, but what he was doing is basically making himself unhealthy by committing that. Not only in his mind, but also sharing that with others, that he's got the body of an 80-year-old man. He didn't look like he had a body of an 80-year-old man, but he's committing that in his mind. Now, part of it is probably humor, but part of it is that he believes that. That's the dangerous part. And that as he gets older and older, it starts to become a reality more so than just a joke or humor. So do you consider yourself old or young? I never considered myself old ever. Whether I was 30, 40, 50, and now going into 60, I would never consider myself old. I'm younger than some and older than others, but I'm not old. There's being called old is a stereotype, but it's also a reference point that when you hear that, right? If they say, well, this guy's older than that guy, that's a different story than, oh, that guy's an old man. or an old woman. And so you have to understand these things work perfectly in your mind if you allow them to. Do you expect to be healthy or have issues with your health? Many people expect health issues as they get older because that's the thing that they saw their mother and their father and their grandfather and their grandmother, that it's expected when you get to 40, 45, 50, that all of a sudden you start taking pills. You're going to the doctor for a checkup and he's going to give you this pills. A lot of doctors are they're pill pushers. Let me write you a subscription for anything from indigestion to whatever. And it's all based on how you've been mentally trained your entire life. Just like you train a dog, you've been trained, you've been indoctrinated, you've been mind controlled, you've been mind forced. And now it's time for you to gain control of your mind and say, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to live a healthy lifestyle, but more importantly, I'm going to clean my mind, body, and spirit. That's the key. Dress young, look young, be young, right? Now, does that mean you should dress like a 15-year-old kid and look totally out of proportion in terms of your age? No. But you also don't want to upgrade yourself to where you look older than you are. I see both men and women do it, where they start to accept that they're getting older and that the next phase is whatever that means, right? And I could go on and on in depth on a lot of these things, but I want to give you these concepts so that you can embrace them and use them in your life and understand that vitality and health and healing, it's in your hands. It's in your hands. You can control your health and your healing to a larger extent than you ever thought you could. But it takes a coordination of the mind, the body, and the spirit. When they say mind, body, and spirit, most people throw that out. But what I've taught you in these last 6 days is a comprehensive system, program, training regimen that will allow you to control that triad, which is that mind, body, spirit, that mind chi, that physical chi, that spiritual chi. And when you build this new individual, when I talk about stepping into a new and more powerful version of yourself, that's exactly what I mean, is that you're making a conscious decision to be powerful, be a controller. When I say being a controller, not necessarily that you're controlling people, although that's part of it. It's that you're controlling yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit. And you have to understand how these work in conjunction with each other. And I speak to people all the time that talk to me about their health, about their healing, about all these different things. And I would say 99% of the time, the biggest issue I have with anyone is their belief factor and their faith in the fact that they can change themselves. But it takes work. That's really the dirty truth, if you want to know it, is it takes putting in the flight time. And so as I'm going through all of these days, I think you've probably realized it does take some work. However, once you get into a system like the Inner Circle or any of the other courses that I have, you're being put on a regimen, on a accelerated path to getting your mind, body, and spirit to work in coordination with one another and learning skills, if you so desire, that are going to take you to that next level of attainment, whatever that attainment is. But it does take work. It does take effort. But guess what? It was never any different. Your life has always been work. You will always have to deal with work and putting in the flight time, no matter what you want to get good at. Even if it is something as low impact as meditation, you still have to put the time in. You still have to put the mindset in. And so I'm asking you, because I want what's best for you, is to take to heart the skills that we've learned in these training sessions and start implementing them in your life. And I can promise you that over time, you will see a gradual increase in your ability to heal self and others, as well as to increase the amount of vitality, energy, deservingness that you have. And that deservingness comes from you forgiving yourself and others. Go back over the slides. Go back over this training and take each one and say, am I doing that? Am I consciously cleaning my energy on a daily basis? Am I aligning with both heaven and earth? Am I clearing my mind from negative thoughts? Am I removing myself from situations that are not good for me? These are all questions that you should be constantly asking yourself so that you can be the best that you can be. I've enjoyed sharing this information with you. The next step in this situation is going to be the question and answer session, where we're going to kind of wrap everything up. And I'm going to go into detail on what your next possible step could be. But I would love to hear your questions. I'd love to answer them. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day. So long.